My bad. I had that on a loop. Hello. Welcome to Creatia Conversation. It's the Friday show. I'm your host, Mara Deshark Watkins, and here's my co-host, the Will Gray today.
Hi, Mara.
How
How
you
are
doing?
you? I'm
We
I'm
made
I'm
it.
we're here. This is
We
this
are.
you were the last hurdle, the final say so in my position as the honorary use of all things Creatia world. And I told Travis last week, I said, look, you got to keep hiding Mara. You eventually have to let us meet.
They were gatekeeping me for a minute. But yeah, so, welcome to another episode of Creatia Conversation, the number one news source on Pornhub for all that nerd ish. And we are here to just talk about all that nerd stuff. You got any what you been since I haven't spoken to you before, what you been playing? What do you watch? Tell me
um
about yourself.
I I'm sure when the first few episodes on the show, I was begrudgingly waiting to watch The Last of Us. I was going to wait for season one to drop. My first episode on Creatia Conversations, Travis was like, "Hey, I need you to binge and catch up." It was only 2 or 3 episodes at that point, so I was like, "Okay," and I started watching it. Absolutely love The Last of Us. I've watched everything up to this point and rewatched a couple of the big episodes because I was like, "This is good." Like I said it was kind of like The Walking Dead if The Walking Dead had a big budget, like an HBO budget. Like that's what this
Okay.
is, and I love it. As far as games go, I've been playing a lot of Fortnite. We're getting into the end of season one of episode 4, which was a huge revamp of the entire map. They've completely redone the mechanics of the game. Been playing a ton of Fortnite and Minecraft. Minecraft is my go-to crack right now. Like every night before like I get ready to wind down, like I spend like an hour like mining cobblestone for no fucking like there's no end game here. Like I really have no desire to do anything except for just mine and feed my cows and my chickens.
That's hysterical. My daughter loves Minecraft. I don't understand it at all. She's always trying to get on these like worlds and such, and I'm just like, I don't get it. But then again, as we all know, I play The Sims, so
See, I
and
don't
as
I don't get into the wild Minecraft. I play Minecraft vanilla. None of the
ah,
extras like Hunger Games and all of that nonsense. Just let me spawn in a world, let me chop down my trees and build my ugly little cobblestone house. Like that's all I want to do. It's like my meditation before bed. Like some of these people get hardcore into it. They're modding it and running games and computer games and simulators in it. And I'm like, I don't want to have to build a game to play another game when I can just, turn my PlayStation on.
oh, I don't do the creating and building of like mods and add-ons, but I do appreciate all the people in the Sims 4 community who continuously create new and inclusive like mods and custom content, and they update it, and with all this that creates all this crazy gameplay. And I like for any game, I appreciate people out there who want to just increase the gameplay ability, because I mean, if you remember, like Sims 4 was like bare bones when it came out. Like it had nothing, didn't even have pools. Number one
Pools.
thing you want to play in the building a game is like a cool looking pool, and they didn't even have that. And to this day, they still don't have drivable vehicles, which I think is insane. But since I've been sitting here talking about The Sims, I guess we can stroll right into newsy time, because I haven't really been watching anything else new or playing anything new besides Pokemon, Sims, and catching up on My Hero Academia. So I've made it.
That's a pretty solid lineup though. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what was it? I just got into season 3 of My Hero, so it's getting intense. Like it's getting intense. I was like, whoa.
That's one of those animes where I've never sat down and watched it from beginning to end, but I feel like I've had so many friends that have went down that rabbit hole that I've seen chunks throughout the series that I like have the basic understanding of what's going on, and I'm like, that's a rabbit hole way too deep. I don't want to go down in, because the canon and the character developments and the way they interact, and I'm like, this is nuts. Like,
It's
some of the time it's
crazy.
crazy with it. Yeah.
So I'm watching it from start to wherever they are. Well, I'm trying to catch up to wherever they are now. So it's just like when I started it, I was like, okay, I've heard that name before. I've heard that name before. Um, but I was just like, I honestly don't understand what it's been about. Most of the time when my friends like we're talking about it, my ears just tune out. I was just like, I don't want spoilers, but I also was like, I don't know if I'm gonna watch this. But then one of my other friends was like, no, 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 we're gonna start this today because I also made them watch House of the Dragon with me. So it only
Which I
it was
loved.
it
Which
was
I
only
loved.
fair. Yeah, I can't wait for that to come back.
Anything Game of
Um,
Thrones for me, for
Pretty
sure.
much. Yeah, Travis, they made it so hard to kill off Sims. That was like the number one thing to do. You build a pool, you let your Sim get in, have them swim some laps, but while they're swimming laps, unbeknownst to them, you build a fence right around the border of the pool. And then you take the ladder out. And then your Sim gets exhausted. Guess what happens? That Sim becomes past tense. Um
My co-host Allison lives and dies by The Sims. That was her game for a long time.
I don't know what the chokehold it has on me is. My aunt says it's the narcissist in me, but or the God complex in me, but I don't think I have one of those.
It's fine if you do. There's nothing wrong with it. That's what I like about Minecraft, is you can go into the villages and take all the villagers' things, and you choose how they live and their life. So I mean, everybody's got a little bit of a god complex. That's why we play video games. We
You're
like
right.
the idea of being invincible.
You're right. And Minecraft is pretty much like The Sims, just in a
It's a first person version of The Sims, really, because once you go into a village, you can manipulate how the villagers react and do things based on what you build around them. So if you want to get all the villagers in one place, ring the bell, get them to come in, build it up, block them in, and they're gone forever. You know, like, it's
interesting.
crazy. Like, there's a lot, you can do some pretty twisted things in Minecraft,
Hmm.
but
I'll have
also
to
in The
explore
Sims.
further. But also in The Sims.
um what the add-ons that they're going, and we'll kind of segue into the article that they were talking about. They're
Yeah.
adding a ton of content, and the way I look at it is, when I first read the article, and the headline, Sims 4 is adding stretch marks, birthmarks, and C-section scars,
Mm-hmm.
says to me, it's like they're taking booking recommendations from Kendrick Lamar. Show me something real. So they did. Like, I feel like that's one thing they're doing, is taking it one step further in realism, to where it's like Second Life in The Office, when Dwight creates his own Second Life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's what they're doing here. They're just giving you a way to live your life in a completely AR fashion.
And they're like, and a lot of people like are talking about like it's very inclusive to have those things because some people like to emulate like their own life because that's what the game is about. It's like playing with life and the possibilities. Um and I think it's cool that they are adding all that stuff. And that's coming in the next free update, which I mean, I know everyone who has been watching with me and Travis specifically knows that I am looking forward to this update because with that update comes infants. It's like they're stop making the babies an object. They are a real, well, not real, but like they're in the game. They are a new like life stage. So it's just I'm so excited.
So did you just go from being like pregnant to having another person to control? And you have to ignore my ignorance on The Sims. I've never played a lot of it. So now
Oh
there's
no,
multiple stages in life where you can control like the playable NPCs or whatever. So now you can
yeah,
be a baby NPC, and then you can be like a child NPC, and now you can be an adult.
that
So
was
multiple stages.
yeah, that's the understanding I have. It's like I don't know. I wonder like so currently prior to this update coming, you like the infant itself, like once the sim has the baby, it's like an object. It's just something that the Sims like themselves, the playable ones, can interact with.
Okay.
Almost like how they made the cats and the dogs. In Sims 3, you could play as the dog cat or the dog. Like you could make them play with the toy and da 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 da. But like in Sims 4, you actually have the you have the sim interact with the dog or the cat or whatever animal, because they have other um npc animals with other expansion packs. I have them, have not played them because those packs kind of are lackluster. um but either way, but now they're creating them where it's like there's more interactions, where they're not just confined to a bassinet the entire time until they age up into toddler, which is a playable life stage, and then it goes child, teen, young adult, adult, elder, and then past tense, or ghost, depending on how you want to play. um but yeah. Oh, thank you, Vince. Yes, I saw that and I was just like, wow, my team really loves me. They really, really love me. I never played Second Life, but I know Travis has talked about it before. But I do remember hearing about it. It actually used to be, um, it was on an episode of CSI New York to find a killer because a popular character, popular player had gone missing. So it's fun how those things come full circle in my life.
I like the addition of adding tattoos and markings and stuff too, because character develop or like the character design in games,
Hmm.
especially in some of the RPGs, Fallout and Skyrim and Elder Scrolls and stuff like that. Like when you get into the level of design for your character, like people spend hours on that. So now I'm looking at it in The Sims, they're doing the same thing. You can birthmarks and tattoos and everything. So I'm like,
and
okay.
like and like different skin conditions, like it's amazing like what they are adding, because these are things that like you could only get through like custom content and mods from like outside creators. And again, like I like that Sims is adding this, but they're also not trying. I hope they're not trying to take away from like the custom content creators. But I also know that they partner up with them a lot more now to be more inclusive. Like I remember like the biggest thing, like especially in the Sims modding community that I used to read about often in like the different like Facebook groups and stuff like and blogs that I would read, that there's just not enough diversity of what was available for players of color. Like they really started to expand on that, like adding in more cultural garments and other like accessories and such. So like I like how far they're coming. Like they're getting slightly better with like the natural hair. Like they're getting better. They're doing their best. But I see that they're making it more inclusive. Like I didn't even like think about having like a sim with vitiligo until I was like, wow, they really don't represent people who have vitiligo or freckles that well, or like any of the, or like now that they've added in hearing aids. I think things for people who have like the devices for people who have diabetes. I was just like, this is like that's or like pacemakers. I was like, this is crazy, but it's like it's great, and I love to see it. So I'm excited because that update is coming in a few days or like a week or so. It's coming on the 14th, and it's coming like right before um the new expansion pack, Growing Together, which I'm excited for because I pre-ordered it.
I'm glad
But
that EA is listening to their communities and they're putting a lot of this into the game. But one thing EA needs to listen to their communities for past The Sims is Madden. Please, please do something cool with Madden in the near future for us. Like this, you're killing it with The Sims. Just apply that same logic to your football game now.
what's the in creating your own like football player?
My biggest beef with Madden is I haven't bought a copy. If I hadn't have got mine last year, I wouldn't have bought a copy since like 2017 because I said it's the same game, just copy and paste. And me and Vince talked about it with 2K23 coming out. I said the same thing with WWE. I don't want to pay $70, $80 for a roster update. Like the game
That is
doesn't change
true.
enough year over year to warrant a $65 or $70 purchase every single year. And the argument was, do they do enough? The Sims, it looks like EA is doing more than enough to warrant the extra add-ons and purchases. But like Madden and stuff like that, I'm like, I just don't see it. I just don't see the point of doing it. So listen to your community. You're killing it with the Sims. Now do it with Madden.
No, I feel that. Like, I get what you're saying on that, because I used to wonder, like, 'cause I used to watch like friends in college, and like even after college, like just listening to people talk about like Madden, like, oh yeah, I just got the new Madden, and I'd always wonder, I was like, what is new? What's new about this one over last year's? And they'd
Well,
be like,
now with
oh,
online player capabilities, you can download new rosters to the older games and you're playing with the updated NFL roster. So I can put in Madden 20 and put it in there and play it, download the updated rosters, and it's got the updated 2023 roster for the Titans on it. So that's my point. Like, what are you doing to make the game worth the purchase every year other than
mhm.
just, slight graphic upgrades and, maybe a new arcade mode or something?
The last, I feel like, basketball game or sport game I bought, I feel like, was that NBA game that came out with like Mario add-on. You could play with Mario too. You could play with like the actual people from NBA, but you could also play with like some of the Nintendo characters. And I was like, this is interesting.
The online mode for the 2K basketball series is fucking fire, though. I'm not a big. I don't like the my character mode and all of that because I'm not super great at it. But if you put me on like a 2v2 match where I'm playing with somebody else against another pair and we got a full 5-on-5 basketball scrimmage going, like it's awesome. Like I'm totally into that. Like I got really into the online play for the basketball game.
Mm, okay.
Now that we've
I mean,
completely derailed this show away from where we went from the Sims all the way over to online NBA play.
that's fine. I like to switch it up a little bit. I like to come out of my wheelhouse a little bit. Uh, but we can continue with some movie news. Uh, Hellboy, which I feel like I had spoke about maybe a week or two ago, um, has it's called Hellboy the Crooked Man. They have finally gotten, or I guess they have casted who they are going to have as the titular character, and it is Jack Kesey. Um, Now I know Jack Kesey from a show that used to air on, I want to say TNT. I might be wrong. But it was called Claws. Um, and he played the character Roller. Hilarious. Um, but he's in other things. Uh, he was in The Strain, and I didn't watch far enough into that show to, I guess, recall if I saw him in that or not. Eventually, I'll finish it. Um, and Black Tom Cassidy in Deadpool 2. Also, don't remember him in that either, but I'll eventually go back and watch it. But yeah, so he's following up after Ron Perlman and David Harbour. So I'm excited to see how that's going to look.
When I looked it up, I was like, Jack Kesey. I immediately was like, okay, I remember the guy in Deadpool 2, but of the rest of his work, I was a little bit like unsure of. I was like, I don't really recognize any of this. But looking at the cast of directors and producers that are involved with the movie, I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, it's gonna hold. Hopefully, it holds true because I was a big fan of the original Hellboy with Ron Perlman. Like the way they presented it is more of like that dark comic graphic novel style thing versus say like a Spider-Man or an Avengers like over the top, explosion style comic book movie. I like kind of the dark centric like way the Hellboy series is shot. So it looks like they'll stay true to that with this.
Mhm.
And there's nothing to be said with hiring somebody that doesn't have, the Academy Award winning resumes and all of that nonsense. Just because he's not as well known as some of the other guys doesn't mean anything because we've seen guys go in and blow rolls out of the water. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for the movie. Even even with me not knowing much about who Jack Kessie is, I'm still hyped to hear about it and to know that it's coming. So
Yeah, and I mean, like, from the look of the source material, um, the comic book which I have here, I like it. It looks dark, so I'm like, I'm hoping this will be really good. And I feel like the couple of things that I guess I've seen him in, I'm curious to see how Jack Kessie will take on this role based on of like just overall on the basis knowledge that I have of Hellboy. So that'll be interesting.
the quote in the article is that they started with a draft and they're trying to make it as close to the original comic book as what they can. So what I was saying about how the original ones kind of tried to be more of that darker style that was in the comics, they're even going to try to make it seem more like that with this version of Hellboy. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, so I'm here for it as well. And for 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 a white guy, he's really attractive. I was like, how do I make that sound less hateful or offensive? I was just like, we can continue on. I know I said I was talking about Attack on Titan, and I lost my article, so I'll come back to that later. But with more movie stuff, did you see Black Panther, Wakanda?
I did.
Okay, cool. That was not a test or anything. I was just curious before I gave a spoiler. So Tenoch Huerta, who played Namor, there has been some like rumor, like I guess like talking about when he'll come back. Because like I guess like if you're familiar with the comics and stuff like that, like he is more involved in the MCU than just waging war on Wakanda for 2 hours. And so I guess Avengers 5 he has been asked about, because I guess we don't know too much about it yet. But this was in an article by Jamie Jirak. I hope I said that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. From comicbook.com. While they were trying to figure out what's next for Namor, because fans have been talking about he might be returning in Kang Dynasty, which I'm not sure what that is yet, but I will look that up later. Whatever, I'm sure whatever it is, that's something next within the Marvel universe. But they're wondering what's going on with him, but he still has like an injury from Wakanda, so I guess he has to heal up from that before he realizes what his next move will be. What were you gonna say?
He's an anti-hero, so I like the fact that, tying in my wrestling side, I like the fact that he's like that, it's like people loved him even with him being portrayed as the villain in Black Panther. Like I liked the way it was written. They talk about the Jeff Loveness, the guy who wrote Ant-Man and the Wasp, is also writing Kang Dynasty, which is going to be the fifth Avengers movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just like, because I
couldn't remember because there's another one coming after that, but these are all, we just started phase 5 or phase 6, and the next Avengers movie is coming out in the next phase. So that kind of puts in perspective how far it is, because there's not an Avengers coming out in this phase, because Kang is apparently going to be built as Thanos in this next wave of Marvel stuff. He's going to be he's the conqueror, you know what I mean? Like he's coming in to take everything over. So it's the start here at Ant-Man and the Wasp, and it's going to build through everything that comes through the next, phase and a half, getting to the Kang Dynasty with the Avengers.
Yeah, and that's like, yeah, that sounds awesome. But
I think having Namor come in, though, I like the bridge there. He was such a polarizing character in Wakanda Forever that holding him off for another couple years seems like they're not taking like another wrestling time. They're not booking the character right. Like he's on everybody's mind now, and I understand wanting to write the story to where it makes sense, but
Mm-hmm.
waiting 4 or 5 years is, they're going to release a whole ass another Black Panther movie before his reappearance in the next Avengers movie.
Yeah, and it's just like still not clear. And then while people are trying to understand, like, want to be clear on what will it be, how will he be coming back, like, because like I remember, like if I remember correctly from Wakanda Forever, because it's been so long now, I need to watch it again. Um, it's like he still has like kind of like a bone to pick, and Wakanda kind of, I mean, I don't know. I would be kind of bitter at the Avengers since they didn't show up to T'Challa's funeral, but he showed up at Tony's. But that is neither here or there. Um, I was saying, like, they still, I guess, post that hopefully we'll still have like an allyship. So like who knows how like Namor would respond to the rest of the Avengers, or like how he'll be perceived by them. So we shall we shall see in the coming times. I guess with like more things coming out. I mean, like we know Kang will be back in something in not something in Loki, in
Mm-hmm.
Loki with as Victor Timely and all that stuff. And I'm curious, well, and excited to see the doors that opens up, because there's so many different variants of Kang, and I hope that we can explore. I'm looking forward to exploring more of those different variants and how they introduce, I guess, other aspects of the expanding MCU to our screens.
If they handle Kang the same way they did Thanos, it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger every time, because they
Mm-hmm.
introduced him in the first Avengers, and then we had that slow burn through all of those movies till we got that fight. So we get the fight in the first movie, and then they start the build. So I'm like, how big are they going to make this? You know what I mean? Because we got the Kang versus Ant-Man fight in the movie. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so we know that we see him in action, and we know he just keeps getting bigger and stronger and badder as the movies progress. So it's like, okay, what the hell are they going to do with this?
Right? Because they have to make him bigger. Then they have to make him not only just big as Thanos, they have to do it bigger.
When I
Because
say like bigger, yeah, meaning like even if his character stature wise isn't necessarily bigger and badder than Thanos, but like the whole concept of Thanos just snapping his fingers and half of everything being gone, what the hell
mm-hmm,
is Kang going to do that's worth than killing half of everybody in the fucking universe? Like
everyone.
what are they going to
Yeah.
build his story to be to make him bigger and badder than Thanos in that aspect? Because that's a pretty
Yeah.
big like bad guy moment to be like half of everybody, poof, you're gone.
Right.
Like that was
Sacrificed
a
my daughter, sacrificed
yeah.
everyone.
Like he's gonna have to do some shit because we've seen some shit.
Yeah. So yeah, that actually, now you put that in perspective, I'm just like, what could you do that's worse than that? Like, besides killing everyone?
Yeah, everybody but Kank.
I don't know. But I mean, that would suck, because that means he would get rid of all, like, he would probably get rid of everyone or enslave everyone, but get rid of all like the good stuff. Like,
All the meta humans and all the superhero type guys, to where he would have no competition.
yeah, and then he would enslave like the human people, and then get rid of all the good things like cats and dogs, because the dogs are important.
Dogs are important, Mara. Dogs
Exactly.
are important.
And they're like our best friends, and that's why dog.com is your online dog supplies and shopping and information destination. Everything your dog needs, from toys to treats and food, is available, including collars and leashes. I hope Kang don't hear that. They even have outdoor gear and water safety gear for your furry friend. So go to dog.creatiaworld.com to receive up to 64% off of your order today. That's dog.creatiaworld.com. But coming out of the dog realm, and I want to get back into some scary stuff. Have you seen well, or scary but also funny stuff. Have you seen Cocaine Bear? It's on my list of things to watch.
I haven't been able to watch it yet. I have to go see it. I lived Cocaine Bear, and by that I mean the city that the movie takes place in. I lived in Gatlinburg in Sevier County for 2 years. So when they tell you, like in the movie, they're like, they've got signs posted, don't feed the bears are crazy. That's fucking real life. Like
Oh,
that movie is 100% real. The people in Appalachia talk about it. Like I knew about the Cocaine Bear story well before the movie came out. So when I found out the movie was coming, I was like, fuck yes.
that is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I've when they had announced that there was a movie called Cocaine Bear coming out, at first I thought it was like a joke. I was like, yeah, there's this movie about a bear on cocaine. And I was like, okay, but then you found out it was a real movie. And I was like, oh, okay. And then the plot thickened and I was like, this is based off of a true story?
In Gatlinburg, when I would roll up to my restaurants in the morning, because on Tuesdays we'd count inventory, I'd have to get there like 4:30 so I could get it all done and counted before the restaurant opens at 10. So I'd get there
Mm-hmm.
at the butt ass crack of dawn, and I would pull up into the restaurant parking lot, and you had to get what's called bear locks on your dumpsters, which are like these big metal rods that come down and lock in place. So these big motherfuckers can't flip your dumpsters up and open and like get in there with your trash. So if my dishwashers or one of the neighboring restaurants' dishwashers don't lock the locks down right, coming in the next morning, like I shit you not, two or three just big ass black bears like in your restaurant dumpster, and you can't get out of your car or truck until they leave.
Oh no.
Because when they're eating, the cops will tell you, the medics will tell you, don't fuck with a bear if it's eating. Like wait for it to finish and let it leave on its own. Don't try to like. So I just have to sit in my car and just wait patiently for this, 500-pound behemoth to get done eating my leftover tacos so I can go to work.
No, I'm good. That sounds insane. I'm good on that. But you know what else? But like the reason why I brought that up. So this is an article that I had found on Bloody Disgusting by John Squires. Um, and so this is the quote: with Cocaine Bear now playing in theaters, it was only a matter of time before the Asylum, which I learned is I'm assuming a production company, or people who like to make movies, would whip up their own mockbuster take on the buzzy horror comedy. And indeed, they've unleashed the first look at that upcoming project today. Well, from when he wrote this article, Attack of the Meth Gator. And this is sending me.
I love everything. My little rural Tennessee heart is so excited about the Attack of the Meth Gator. I cannot wait for this. Even if it is a hoax, I still hope somebody picks it up and it actually gets made one day. I fucking love it.
they
Everything
announced it
about it.
they announced that they were doing it with like a cheeky tweet that says, "Hold our bear, I mean beer, coming for your life this summer." And all I can
The the whole best part about the article from beginning to end, good read, well put together, the right passive wording and stuff for an article, like all of that's well written. But the line that gets me is, where'd it go? Along with the tweet is an early poster art for Attack of Meth Gator, which presumably centers on an alligator who ingests a whole bunch of meth and eats a whole bunch of people. How the fuck can you not look forward to that movie?
You know what I'm saying?
Like, how are you not excited for that?
I'm totally down to see this. It gives very Florida vibes. No offense to any of our viewers who are watching from Florida, but it gives Florida vibes. Like the poster itself, this looks like this could be like Miami. Like, tell me that don't look like the cityscape from CSI Miami.
Uh-huh.
So like
Oh,
this is,
the meth gator just cruising down South Beach,
you
just
know,
taking everybody out.
just eating beachgoers and stuff. See, that's what Travis said. That just has
Uh-huh.
Florida written all over it. Like,
I want Florida Man versus the meth gator. Somebody book that for me, please.
Oh my gosh.
There's got to be an indie mud show somewhere in Florida that'll book the Florida Man versus the Meth Gator.
Well, that's the kicker, I bet. Well, that's going to be the protagonist is going to be Florida Man.
That's the only protagonist you can have in a movie called Attack of the Meth Gator is Florida Man. That's who your superhero has to be for this movie.
But I think in another article, I think they had a cast list already or like a wanted list. No, they have a confirmed cast list.
Yes.
I don't know who a lot of these people are, but I mean,
It doesn't matter. I'm still going to
right,
see
given
it.
the movie, like, what does it matter? You have Ray Acevedo as a character named Bithlo, Tristan Amason as Twain, Christopher Applegate as Rick, Arlene Lagos as Skylar, Gus Langley as Tucker, LaRon Marzette as Dante Williams, Stuart Maxheimer as Deputy Farmer.
It sounds like you're reading off a GTA 5 like character list.
Like
Tucker and Officer Farmer. Like these all sound like made up rock star names they would put as GTA 5
Sheriff
characters.
Williams.
Sheriff Williams.
They have a Grady. So this is definitely these are definitely Florida people.
Oh yeah. Yeah, somebody's gonna, ingest a bunch of meth and become Florida Man to fight the Meth Gator. That's the way this is gonna happen.
Yeah, I bet you the antagonist is definitely a bunch of scientists, like, cooking up a new strain of meth. And then they're like, no, this is no good. And then they dump it into like the toilet and it gets into the sewer. And then the gator just eats all of it. And then it's on a rampage.
I love everything about the idea of like just a metric shit ton of meth getting put down into the swamps, and because somebody flushed it down the toilet to avoid getting arrested. And this is the outcome of that. Like, don't flush your baby fish or your snakes or whatever, because they'll get out an invasive species and they'll take over. Like, don't flush your meth or you get attack of the Meth Gator. Like, that's the natural progression of it.
And it's just like, and a human can't realistically outrun a gator, but even though I feel like a Florida Man might, but you can't outrun a gator, but you know what might bring you close to it? Dubby.
Oh, Dubby.
Yeah, Dubby.
No, that's two for two, Mara. That's 2 for 2.
Dubby is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like other energy drinks. Looking at you, monster. They also have no maltodextrin fillers and don't use artificial dyes. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. The product is made in the USA in an FDA-inspected facility that strictly adheres to GMP manufacturing guidelines. Dubby has handpicked what they believe to be the 10 most critical ingredients for focus and concentration. Dubby contains important aminos and vitamins that canned energy drinks simply don't have, because Dubby is a powder, not like a liquid in a can. Dubby uses Neurofactor, a patented all-natural coffee cherry extract to help fuel you. This ingredient is what gives Dubby its laser focus and fast reflex effects so that you can run away from meth-induced gators, or at least try to, making it especially perfect for gamers as well. They disclose full ingredient amounts, and the products will never contain fillers or artificial colors or dyes. Dubby is also sugar-free, maltodextrin-free, like I said, and keto-friendly. So go to dubby.creatiaworld.com and use code Creatia to receive 10% off of your order today. Again, that's dubby.creatiaworld.com and use the code Creatia at checkout. Haha.
Nailed it. I would like to see a bunch of gamers fight a Meth Gator.
I'd actually pay some actually cold hard money to see that. That sounds hysterical.
A bunch of nerdy guys hopped up on Dubby trying to fight a meth comatose alligator. I would pay to watch that pay-per-view. Give it to me, Fight TV. If Jake Paul and Logan Paul can sell out pay-per-views, how come we don't have nerdy kids hyped up on, energy drinks fighting meth gators?
I don't know. That sounds hysterical, but also terrifying at the same time, at least for them.
They wouldn't know. This is the most social interaction they would have all the time.
You right.
We
But
just we
speaking,
just talked before we went on air about how all of our friends we never actually see in person. All of our interaction is through the screen. Like, why do
this
you
is
need
true.
social interaction? There's no need for that.
We were doing the virtual connecting before COVID was even a thing and forced us all to do it anyway.
Yeah. We were hermits before being a hermit was cool.
Right. Has nothing to do with the fact that we are spread across like 5 different states and 2 time zones. Has absolutely nothing to do with that. But speaking of absolutely terrifying things, a game called Dead by Daylight, which I have played a demo of before, um, has a horror movie in the works from Blumhouse and James Wan. And just hearing that, I'm scared. Just hearing that, I'm terrified. Like Dead by Daylight is it's a multiplayer slasher video game where the characters can go against like all these different horror icons and other monsters and stuff. Like there's like a million bajillion expansions as to how many characters you can have in here. It kind of like in my eyes, it kind of reminds me of the Friday the 13th game
Hmm.
um that came out. So you can play with other people. I think you can also play by yourself with like CPUs, I believe. Um, but they're creating a cinematic adaptation, and that sounds horrifyingly awesome. And I found this out from like another article written by John Squires on Bloody Disgusting. Um, and James Wan is the brain behind some of the scarier movies that have come out in the last few years, like Malignant, The Conjuring, Insidious 2, or I think like the Insidious movies. He did one of the Saws,
He's
Dead
yeah, the
Silence.
I was just pulling up his filmography. He did the original Saw, which was part of Lionsgate back in the day, and he
Yeah.
the original Saw was such a mind fuck. And then going through The Conjuring, Insidious, he just did Megan, which is the new one from Blumhouse. That's like
Hmm.
everybody's talking about how creepy and scary it is. So this dude's he's done some stuff with his horrors. So I like the idea of him doing like a video adaptation of this.
Yeah, because like these games are like terrifying. Like I don't know who I was talking about it with. I don't know if it was like on one of the many shows or with just one of y'all backstage or something like that. Just like I played the Friday the 13th game, I talked about how much anxiety it gave me the first time I played it, and there someone was like, "Oh, were you one of the camp counters?" I was like, "No, I was Jason." And they were like, "What?" And I was like, I don't know. I have so much anxiety just playing the game. I was like, what if they find me? And they were like, but you're the killer. And I was like, I know, but what if they find me? But and it's like to think of like the anxiety that those games produce, like just having it made in like a curated, scripted, like there's a start to finish. I was just like, oh my God, I'm gonna shit my pants watching this movie. Not really, but like I love a good scare. So I'm excited for this because I just know it's gonna be bloody scary.
They've
And I
done
mean
so
that.
much. When you look at Blumhouse's like repertoire of everything they've done, the last two movies, Halloween Ends and The Black Phone, that were major cinematic releases, were
Hmm.
big hits. Black Phone was crazy good. So this is one of those things where you take James Wan, who has a great track record, and you put him with Blumhouse, who has a great track record. So, and then you take a fun game like Dead by Daylight, and if they adapt it right for the screenplay, like they put aces in their places, that should be a hit.
Yeah, like if like they cast the right people, they do the story right, they choose, I guess, the right monsters, or however they choose to formulate it. They have like it's a great setup. So I'm excited to see this, especially with like either like old horror movies like making a comeback, and then like video game adaptations into movies. They have been doing pretty solid lately.
Plus, the way you were talking with the storyline and stuff, it allows itself to be an immersive universe where it's not just going to be a one and done. They can do multiple ones and kind of build off of the characters and everything. So it's not,
Mhm.
if done right, this could be a whole ass series for Blumhouse.
Right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
And Blumhouse, like, never, for at least for me, never fails to disappoint with me. Like, if I see a
Banger
horror
after
movie
banger.
coming,
Yeah.
right? I was like, if I see Blumhouse behind a movie, I'm just like, oh, I have to see it.
That's what I was saying
Like,
when I was looking through their list. It's nuts. Halloween's Ends. Obviously, I was going through it. Insidious Chapter 3, Ouija, Paranormal Activity 3, 2, 4, all of them. Like just their list, the Purge series, like all of it. They've done so much. Totem, which was crazy fucking weird.
did I see Totem? That sounds
The
familiar.
Awakening, the Amityville, like their list of movies is like, oh yeah, I forgot they did that. I forgot they did that. I forgot they did that.
I
Get
forgot
Out,
James. I
yeah.
forgot James Wan did Aquaman. He's so versatile. I was just like, because every time I hear James Wan, I'm just like, oh great, I'm about to be scared. And then it's like, and then I look at the filmography and I was like, Furious 7, Aquaman. And I was just
And
like,
he's
oh.
Australian, which is I think like, which is hilarious. The whole process, because it's like James Wan is doing a horror movie. He's an Australian director, and it's like I have no idea where this paragraph is going after each sentence. It just keeps getting like further away off the rails. So, because he doesn't look like the guy that would be a horror guy. He looks like
He would be designing video games.
Exactly. Yeah, like you wouldn't think he would be like the premier horror director right now. Just looking at his pictures and his headshots, he looks like he would do video games or like, you know, he would be Dominic Toretto's like sidekick in a Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so like again, go. Like,
it's gonna be a win.
Yeah, it's gonna be a win. James Wan and Blumhouse together, like that combo to me is like chef kiss right there. So that is what I'm looking forward to. But also within the horror genre, Scream 6 is coming out in a week. Next week it comes out, and I'm excited.
I can't wait.
I cannot.
I like the way they've done this series, and a
I'm
lot of
sorry, what?
times I like, if you like his headshots, you see his bag shots. Way to go, Matt. Thanks for staying classy. We've done so good today. Me and Mara, we've been very polite in our first interactions, and here comes Matt jumping in, trying to take us off the rails.
And making it dirty. But since you brought up back shots, you know what you could use during back shots? Toys.
3 for 3. 3 for 3.
3.
Nailed
because at Sensual, My Sensual Secrets boasts one of the largest catalogs on the web across all the varying levels of adult toy categories, with toys for him, for her, for both. The product line is extensive compared to other competitors in the sexual wellness industry. Orders ship within 24 hours, so customers are always satisfied very quickly with both the price and quality. My Sensual Secrets has top rated reviews and exceptional customer service. So go to sensual.creatiaworld.com to receive 10% off of your order today. That's sensual.creatiaworld.com. So thanks, Matt, for that.
3 for 3. Nailed it. Matt came in clutch with the segue.
You did. But back to scary shit, because that's where I was going. And Scream 6 is coming out. Fans can actually get a terrifying phone call from Ghostface ahead of the film's premiere. And I'm so excited. I'm actually a little turned on by the idea of that.
When I saw it, I was like, okay, this is creepy. I was like, it's not the exact same thing as like Hall & Oates, where you can hear a Hall & Oates song, but I was like, having the idea of getting like, I immediately was like, I wonder which one of my crazy exes I could get Ghostface to call. Like put their number in instead, so they're not expecting Ghostface to call them. I immediately went and was like, who can I prank with this? Like, that's where I went with it.
It's like I low-key want to like prank my roommate with it to see, like, to have it call her right before we go see the movie, because we're gonna go see it together. just because we have decided like that's our thing. We went to see Scream 5 last year together. Like we made it like a whole girls' day afternoon, or as I think we also called it mom's afternoon because we also we be joking around, be like, yeah, we're moms of Luna. Because like when you see, like, it's a running gag joke because when you see photos of us, like the three of us together, it gives very two moms and their daughter. Like who actually birthed this one, you'll never know. But it's like I want to prank her with it, but I also feel like she wouldn't answer the phone call because she also doesn't answer phone numbers she doesn't recognize. So I was
If your
just like,
name's not in my phone, you can leave me a message. That's all I'm
yeah,
saying.
that's all I ever say. I was just like, you can leave me a voicemail if it's important. But so I actually might just sign up just to have it call me, just because I want to see what
I
it
kind of want
will
the clip.
huh?
I kind of want the clip just for it to be like, hey, Will, you want to play a game? Yes. I've waited since I was like 9 years old in the first movie to come out for that to be asked. Yes, let's do it. Like, ask me something creepy on the phone. Scare
Right?
me.
Right? I would love, like, I wish they would take it even further and be like, they'll call again closer to Halloween too, just to throw you off. Like it'll be months past the movie and
Don't
they
tell
just be
me. Just
like,
put me on a call list and just have Ghostface randomly fucking call me throughout the year and be like,
exactly.
you look great in that Tennessee hat. You damn right I do, Ghostface. You damn right I do.
Right? Like I see you with that apple on your shirt.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's what I'm
Excuse
talking about. You know they're listening to us and they see our cameras and our phones. Just have fun with us, guys. Put us on a call
right?
list and have serial killers prank call
I'm
us.
surprised the NSA don't do it more frequently. I know y'all are bored
For real.
watching, right? I know you bored watching Matt watch the same Pornhub video over and over and over again. Call him,
I hope
scare
my
him.
FBI agent has aged with me, because if not, he is bored as shit now compared to what he was when I was in my 20s. That's all I'm
You
saying.
know what I'm saying? Like, imagine they have just so many agents at so many desks that they just like from the moment you join the agency, you just kind of stick with that same person
You're
forever.
issued your badge numbers comes with a social security number, and you're like,
This
fuck,
is
Will
this is who
Gray.
you're right. This is who you're following. I'm pretty sure when they saw like when I was pregnant, they were like, "Oh, I wonder what she's gonna do." And then I was like, "Keeping it," and they're like, "I didn't see that coming."
Who had
They're
that on
like,
their bingo card?
they were like, "That was not the choice I thought she was gonna make."
Yeah. What do you
If you
mean
look
Will
at
quit being a chef to cover pro wrestling? What the fuck did you let that man do with his life?
if you look at Luna, it's obvious which one birthed her. Yes, to us it is. You'd be surprised how many people like literally like look at her, look at both of us, and you're just like,
I like the play. I like the guessing game though. That makes it worth it. Just so people have to pretend like.
it's funny
And
because like the last picture that we had taken of us all together, we were at Dave and Buster's, and you could tell that the photographer was trying to figure out what to say to be like, do you, who's mom?
how to dance around it without getting canceled at the exact same
Yeah, you
time.
could tell she was trying to be like, are you guys like
Mhm.
friends or are you guys like friends? It was so funny watching her trying to like get it together, but like it is such a cute photo. I wish I had it like readily accessible to show it. But yeah, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
I don't even remember now. I've went down like 5 different rabbit holes.
But yeah, so like I'm excited and I'm gonna do that phone call because I'm excited for Scream and anything to get the creepiness going faster and faster, I'm here for it.
Just scare me, whatever it takes. If FBI,
Right?
if you're listening, scare the shit out of me.
Do it. Just don't do it about money because that shit will actually give me a panic attack.
Yeah, if you want me to actually have a heart attack and die, like, yeah, do something like that. Have Ghostface call me, or a guy like a weird clown show up in front of my house or something. Do something
Right?
like that, kind of like jump scary, not
Across
like,
the mm-hmm.
yeah, not your bankrupt scary. I don't want adult scary. I want like
Right,
scary
like
movie scary.
you owe the government money. I owe them what?
Yeah. I'm already scared of the IRS. Don't make me think I'm actually going to jail.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, yes. Logan is my work wife at home. She helps me with everything. But I have one more thing that just came across my my news feed. One more article, and then we'll close it out for the day. Um, Nosferatu has a reboot and has added Aaron Taylor Johnson to the cast. So now I'm curious. Nosferatu, which you know is the 1922 classic about like vampire, like the original Dracula and all that stuff. It's compiling what Patrick Kavanaugh of comicbook.com has said is assembling an impressive cast, with Deadline confirming that the project has added Aaron Taylor Johnson to their ensemble, but they have not confirmed who he will be playing. But other actors who have been announced is Lily Rose Depp, Bill Skarsgård, um, Nicholas Holt, William Defoe, and Emma Corrin. This is funny because this I think is the second like vampire movie
Yes.
that Nicholas Holt is actually playing in as well, I think, right? Or is
Yeah,
this
Bill Skarsgård is playing like the role of Dracula. And when
yes.
I was just like, that's gonna be dope as shit because his role as Pennywise was nuts.
Crazy.
Like, yeah, so that's a great pick for that because
Like
he's
I'm
got
terrified of
that
clowns.
creepy eye face, and that's gonna be such a crucial role to play Dracula. Right? Is that like that ice stare? And as soon
That
as I was like, okay, because I was looking at another article on Deadline that credited Skarsgård as playing Dracula. So I was like, okay,
mhm.
yeah.
It's him, and Lily Rose Depp
Mm-hmm.
is playing the young woman who is a who like shares a mutual obsession between her and Dracula. I'm assuming that like Mina Hark maybe, but either way, I'm excited to see this. I love vampire movies, and I've had my Twilight phase, I had my Dracula Untold phase, everything kind of in between. So I'm here, and I'm also here for a classic reboot. So
This is a classic reboot that can be made though, because they did Nosferatu in the 70s. And there's been a couple like B-list attempts at it, but this has been the first time like a major production company has made a run
mhm.
with it since the 70s. So I think telling this story with, the technology that we can do now is going to be a cool story to tell. And this is one of those like if done right things, because they, like I said about the Dead by Daylight with James Wan and Blumhouse and everything they were putting in place. They've got the aces in places. Now it's about the execution of the movie and getting it out there for us.
Yeah, so no clue when that will be coming out, but that's a thing. If I guess like if you don't know who Aaron Taylor Johnson is, he was Kick Ass. He was the titular character, Kick Ass. He was also Quicksilver in the Avengers, not to be confused with Quicksilver that came out in Days of Future Past the same year as Avengers. Was it Avengers or is that yeah, Age of Ultron, right?
Yeah, no, Quicksilver was in Age of Ultron. Yeah, the
Yeah,
second
but
Avengers
that's
movie.
yeah. I was like, that's an Avengers though, right? I was just like, because that the Captain America Civil War movie
Mm-hmm.
always throws me off because it's a big team up movie kind of
Yeah.
per se, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's not Avengers. um, but yeah, so he's from that, which we all know he died, um, or his variant died, of Quicksilver died. So and he's been in other things. He was in another movie with Taylor Kitsch and Blake Lively called Savages, which is an interesting I call it cult classic, which some people don't really care for it, but um I think it's a very interesting movie. That also has Selma Hayek in it. Love her. But yeah, he's been in a bunch of things. It's just like they're not coming to the top of my head, and I'm pretty sure I've seen half of them. But yes. I am excited to see what he will bring to Nosferatu. Because also, I love the idea of bringing another classic to the younger generation. Because these these young folk know it nowadays don't be knowing the shit. Asking for music on Twitter as if MySpace wasn't a fucking thing. Horrible. But that's a rant for another day. Before I go on too long. But yeah, do you have anything else you want to add today, Will?
The only thing I want to touch on is the Northampton city to spend $20,000 of grant money to install new manhole covers for the sewers, and they're all Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle themed. I feel the need to bring up
Dun,
Teenage
dun,
Mutant
dun,
Ninja.
dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun.
anytime they get brought up, that was my jam. I have them on engraved on my body forever. So like anytime the Ninja Turtles get brought up. So when I saw that they were spending 20 grand on manhole covers of a $2 million grant or $4 million grant, I was like, okay, it's like a drop in the bucket of the grant money, and they're gonna put them all through the city, and they're all gonna be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle branded. I'm like,
Dun,
I
dun,
might
dun, dun,
I might
dun.
have to go to Northampton, Massachusetts, just to take a picture with one now.
I do a
But that's
lot to
it.
not. Okay, Vince, thank you. They're all very similar sounding sounds in my eyes. um, what was it? You two are doing me proud. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Mateo. Spooky
Spooky
Fridays live
Fridays
on.
will forever live on. I'm
That's it.
sorry, I have no Saturday Night Live updates for y'all this Friday because I know it's not Friday if I don't talk about Saturday Night Live. But but I was like, but you guys already know who's coming up. So I think it's Jenna Ortega tomorrow. I think so. Yeah, watch that because you know she's in Scream 6 coming out next Friday,
You think
and
she'll do the
hopefully,
Wednesday dance?
fuck, I hope so because Luna keeps asking about it.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, do you watch Wednesday? And I was just like, I mean, I watched the first episode, and she was like, the one where they dance, like and then she starts doing the dance, and I was just like, okay, stop trying to poop
That's
here.
it.
Can you?
That's all I got. I was as close to the dance as I'm gonna get.
She starts doing the dance, and she always does this when I'm in the bathroom. So
Allison tried to convince me. She was like, "You should put the Wednesday Adams like the dress on," and I was like, I'm not going to put a dress on and do a TikTok trend." I was like, "Because it'll be my luck. That'll be the one that'll go viral with 100,000 views. It'll be me in the Wednesday Adams dress, like trying to do a dance." And I'm like, I'm not that guy. I'm
well,
not
I
the
was gonna
guy.
say, well, if you do, just make sure you tag Creatia World so that we also get tied into your viralicity.
That would be my luck. With that would be the one on my page that would get like 100,000 views. Would be me, dressing as Jenna Ortega to do the Wednesday Adams dance.
Exactly. And as long as you tag at It's Creatia World, it'll show up on all of our social media handles too. Because as always, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at It's Creatia World. At It's Creatia World. Yeah, that's what I said. But as always, Monday through Friday around this time for lunch, coffee, midday spank, whatever you looking for. You can find us here live for Creatia Conversation at twitch.tv/Creatia World and also on youtube.com/Creatia World. If you choose it to do it when you spank it, you can also find us on pornhub.com/model/Creatia World. There's a whole bunch of other stuff on there too. We have some Pornhub exclusive stuff on there as well. Looking at you, Matt.
What
Katie.
that's the tweet right there. Go watch that. Go watch the video,
Just
guys.
go
Just
watch
do
that,
it.
especially if you like
Mm-hmm.
horror stuff. Got
Mm-hmm.
some porn parody stuff going on in there. Watch it. Let us know if you watched it, if you liked it. Let us know if you did anything else extra, but do that on the Pornhub comments, please. If you want to support us monetarily, we also have a Patreon, which is patreon.com/Creatia World. And there you get other bonus material like Multiverse with me and Travis, where we talk about animated comic book stuff. Like we last watched Constantine, City of Demons, and we're getting ready to do Wonder Woman Bloodlines. So look forward to that. You can find the links for all of our streaming things at Linktree. So that's linktree.ee/Creatia World. But if you also want to get to know the group as a total, or as a whole, there's also creatiaworld.com where it will have like a little bio and blurbs about us, our favorite drink, our Hogwarts houses, because I'm still talking about Hogwarts and such, and Harry Potter. That will never stop. Um, what else? We have a Facebook, facebook.com/creationworld. We post all of our stuff there. We post updates and more there as well. You can leave comments. You can do all kinds of stuff on there. We also have a group if you like wrestling, which will also a group for our show, Smacking It Raw, which goes on every Friday at 12 midnight, 11 Central, with Matt the Warden Ritter and Vince Delgado, because I will not call him daddy. I have a father and I call him daddy already. And I'm trying not to instill daddy issues. But that goes live every Friday. But you can also join them on facebook.com/group/smacking it raw, where we can also post memes and commentary and all that stuff. Will said he likes House of the Dragon, which we also do too, because we have a show for it called Dem Dragons, which will come back. Hopefully that HBO, Discovery, Warner, whatever the fuck they are called now, whatever the company is called, doesn't cancel them sporadically like they cancel everything fucking else. Can you tell I'm angry about that?
Tell us how you really feel, Mara. Tell us how you
really angry
feel.
about that shit. But anywho, if they don't cancel it, we'll come back soon next year for our show Dem Dragons, because there's also a group for it called facebook.com/group/Dem Dragons. Where can they find you, Will? Plug your shit.
Well, Mara, I would like to say thank you. I am the Will Gray. I am the honorary ooze of all things Creatia World. But you can find me on Botch Spots and Share Shots every Sunday night. You can find us anywhere you do anything on the internet. You can follow me at the Will Gray, and that's pretty much it. Botch Spots and Share Shots, Sunday nights.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna make a banner for you so that we can put that up whenever we do our outro. And you can always find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Maradashark, MARADASHARK. But that'll be this week. Happy Women's Month. And we'll see you guys next Monday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. It's payday for some. Don't forget to pay your rent. It's also the 3rd.
Your shit's late if you ain't.
Right. Have a great one. Bye.